Hi. In this video I'd like to make some obvious observations. You might not learn anything new at all about retirement in this video. Then again you might. Very recently I bought this book and I haven't even read it yet, I've just started to read it. Stephen Covey's The Eighth Habit. Now, he wrote a best-selling book called The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People, which sold millions of copies. And I've read that book through a number of times. Very interesting book indeed. An inspiring book, you might say. But The Eighth Habit deals with something I thought is very relevant to people who are retired or coming up for retiring, or think maybe I won't retire at all. In it, Stephen suggests that we all have 4 components which must be met if we are to live happy lives. And they are body, mind, and soul, and also meaning as far as leaving a legacy, contributing in some way to the common weal. If we have all of those things in our life's work at the time we're working, we are not liable to want to leave. We might be pushed out. We might be told we're old and we've got to go, or we're no longer keeping up with things, etc. So retirement may be pushed upon us. But if it isn't, and we have the opportunity to stay on, for example, if we're self-employed, we're getting all of those things we want out of it, why retire? Of course, if it's something physical and our bodies can't maintain what we've been doing in the past, we may be obliged to adapt a little bit. We might decide instead of doing the work ourselves, we can supervise or perhaps even instruct or teach others to do the same. And because of our long experience in doing what we love to do, we can continue with it. We're contributing to the common weal. We're helping others, we're leaving a legacy, and we're liking what we're doing. So this is fairly commonplace. But most jobs, unfortunately, or many jobs, are not like that at all. They are still delved into what you might call the 20th century or even the 19th century era of thinking about work. We go to work to earn a living. Whether we put up with hardship or not is the way it is. And employees used to see us more as numbers. Machinery was more important than people. People could be sacked, someone else could come in, particularly if they were unskilled works, such as on an assembly line. Anyone can pick up things and put them in a cardboard box, or take trays out of one oven and put them into another, this sort of thing. This was the sort of work that went on in the old days. The internet has changed all of that. People look not only at their own jobs, but the jobs of other people. There's a lot of envy around. And also, not only that, this business of freedom of choice, which we never had before. If we were brought up in a village where everyone went to the mill or to the mine, we expected to do that, unless of course we were very wealthy or perhaps very bright and could get into a university on a scholarship. Our life was more or less laid out for us. Not anymore. Now we have the business of being able to choose. And when it comes to retirement, often we go into retirement with a mindset of having been channeled all of our lives into timekeeping, getting up at certain times, commuting to work, doing the work, not being able to be creative in any way, doing what the boss told us, hating our jobs, and looking towards retirement. And then suddenly we are retired. And we think to ourselves, what am I going to do with all that time? This is where we need to think of Stephen Covey's 8th habit. Whatever we do now needs to be good for our bodies, good for our minds, good for our souls. And it has to be meaningful. And that meaningful usually comes from knowing that we are able to help others with the wisdom we've gathered over the years. Teaching what we know is very rewarding. Whatever it is you've done in your life, no matter how mundane it might have been, there are things you would have learned, things you would have experienced, things that you know that nobody else knows. Not exactly the way you know them, not the way you've experienced them, not the way you've felt them. You can find a very rewarding lifestyle in retirement. Looking at those things, how are you going to keep your body healthy? How are you going to keep your mind active? How are you going to have a meaningful life? By helping others. If you do that, I think you'll be on the way to having a long, happy, healthy retirement.